despite a few dropouts, I think it's got great depth to it.
Yeah, I got asked this the other day. The first time I've been asked was predictions of who you think will run well in the women's and the men's race, and I said that I think the women's race for me is more exciting. It's so open. There's so many dark horses. We've got people running debuts that are super fast over the half marathon. We've got people that have already got the qualifying time. We've got big names in there already that have run well at previous big marathons. And there's so many potentials that it almost creates such an exciting race. And when you chatted about the pacing groups, I think that in the women's race you'll see that there's a bigger pack at the front, maybe compared to the men's, for sure.
For those that don't know, the reason why the women's is so exciting, and it could have been even better, but there are 4 females who have already qualified, got the qualifying time, which is a sub 2 hours 29 and 30 second race. Now that's pretty fast and pretty moving, but Joe Piasecki, Charlotte Purdue, and Steph Twirl, who have got them 3 fastest times, they're all out of the race, and I don't think they're avoiding it. I think they've just had injuries that have really just suffered their build up.
So on that topic, Tom, so as I understand it, and I might have got this wrong, they're out of the race and they haven't been pre-selected beforehand, so they can't go to the Olympics now. Is that right? And the way to qualify, basically the selection criteria means you have to finish top 2 under the qualifying time on the day to qualify. Is that correct? And then there's a 1/3 optional spot. Is that right or wrong?
It's not on the day. So if you've got the qualifying time and you come top 2, you go. So
what about if you run two? If the first lady has run she wins it in 2:30, but she hasn't got the qualifying time, does she have an opportunity to go and run it? And that's it's. No. But if so they're taking retrospective and qualifying times.
Yeah, so we've got Stephanie Davis, who's the remaining female in there, who has got the qualifying time. She just needs to come top 2. So
I mean, that's to obviously someone's race to lose, but like you say, with those big dropouts, the big names dropping out, that is like she's just got to play it so safe. And what a position for her to be in, whereby, you know, she can go with the pace, whatever it is. She's probably going to be one of the fastest in there, if not the fastest now, as you say, she's only over the qualifying time. So she can handle any sort of pace if she's in shape. So she's just got to not mess this up, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it plays a bigger part in the men's race as well, because there's already a pre-selection with Callum Hawkins, so there's only 2 spots left, and we'll move on to the men's in a second. But you know, yeah, she's got to do that. But what I've heard from her training and that is that she's you know, as an athlete, as you know more than me, Ross, is that, you know, at this elite level, you can't go into a race half-heartedly. You know, you've got to be fit and you've got to be there. No one's gonna sort of you know, give you any respect when you're there to do the time. So I think she's absolutely flying. I think will be in that first group. The big question mark will be, you know, will literally come down to, does she want to run a 2:24, 2:25 time? No, you know, she just needs to run, or she doesn't actually just need to run, but, you know, she just needs to come top 2. But, you know, 2:29.29 is good enough, you know, and for any other athletes that are with her.
So realistically, in your two's opinion, who else in that field has the potential to run under that 2:29.30 pace?
Under the 2:29.30, looking at the start list now, these are the athletes I think that can run it. Charlotte Arter can run it. I think Becky Briggs can run it. I know she's young and I know this is a debut, but she's in my training group and she is flying. Natasha Cockram has proved from her run at London, she's run 2:30 on, you know about the conditions in London, disgraceful conditions. Stephanie Davis can run it. I think Sam Harrison making her debut over the marathon. She went to the World Half Marathon Championships. She's not even been in the sport that long. I think she's been in the sport literally 3 years. Now coached by Vince Wilson, flying. She will go well. Sarah Inglis can run that time. Naomi Mitchell can run that time. Lily Partridge can run that time. They're the athletes that I'm confident I think can run that time. The other athletes may also be able to.
And I think you've got this nice, Charlotte Arthur you went to. It's her debut. Again, could debuts can go very well because you have no experience of it, or you could be found out very quickly. I reckon Sarah Ingalls is a good shout out to note, because in December she ran 2 hours 29 minutes and 41 seconds. So she's 11 seconds out of the qualifying time.
That is just painful to hear someone being, when you break it down, like 11 seconds over 26 miles. What does that work out? That's like, who's very good at maths?
Well, on our course, it would be a second a lap. On our course, if it was the same thing, it would be a second a lap. So a second every 2 miles.
Yeah, so you're looking, a quarter of a second. That was good for me earlier. That's very.
Sarah's a great athlete. She's got great form over 1,500 meters, 5,000 meters. She's a great track athlete. How
do you two think the race is going to pan out then? So if you're, I was going to say John McCurrick. That's what. Who's the ex horse racing?
Yep.
So if you're now Chris Hughes from Love Island, predicting the run out of the race, how do you anticipate it going?
I think the women's race will, and again,
put your nuts on the line and make it call.
Okay, so listen, the way I think it's going to pan out, and it might mean that we lose some viewers from the start of the race, but if I could very easily see that there's about 10 women with 12k to go, and just tuck him in behind. And they go, as I said, if I don't know what Steph's going to do, but she doesn't need to be pushing it.
Fairly honest, like if everyone's going to get on the pace,
it's going to be tough. You can't be running Olympics, the Olympic standard. If it was that easy, a lot more women would have already done it at previous races. So I think we are, I think they're just going to use. They should be using the pacemakers as much as possible. I mean, that's maybe a bit of dad advice for them, because I'm providing that as well. So I just don't see it being. It's not going to be a slow race, because what's the point of turning up? This is going to the Olympics. This is all about getting an Olympic qualifying time for the ones that don't have it, and it's the trial race. So it's almost a pacemaking effort for the first 30k, and then that's when the race gets going. After that 30k, when maybe the pacemakers aren't around, do they start working with each other? Maybe not Steph. Do some of the other athletes start working with each other and tactically doing it? Because I'll take a lap, you take a lap. There's 3 laps to go from that point. Do they start having these conversations during the race and do something like that? That would be interesting.
I think two interesting points. So the London Marathon course and the World Half Marathon course were both lapped routes. And I think that the athletes that ran in those events, the experience they gained from that, especially the World Half, which was so fast in the men's and women's races. I remember the British women, their splits through. I mean, Becky Briggs ran a 5k and 10k PB on her way to running a half marathon PB that day. I think the experience they would have gained from these events is going to hold them in really good stead. So the women's race, I think that Sam Harrison and Becky Briggs will make themselves known very early. And I think they will be right there through 30k. And I think they will be saying that I'm not here to make the mums up. I want to go to the Olympics. Then after the pacemakers drop out, it's going to be a case of whether those young guns that are debuting over it, Charlotte Arthur as well, so she's got the speed in the legs over the half, do they have the experience over that last 12k? Does the experience of people like Lily Partridge, Sarah Inglis and Steph Davis then come to the forefront? So I'm copping out a bit saying that I don't know how it's going to end, but I think at 30k, I think they'll all be there.
This coming Friday, live from Kew Gardens, 26th of March, you can catch the Müller British Athletics Marathon and Race Walk trials. Race Walk kicks off at 6 a.m, marathon kicks off at 8 a.m. You can watch all of the action live on BBC Sport, the iPlayer, and the British Athletics website.